I don't know why, but I think something's gonna go wrong here.
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over.
Welcome everyone to Was It Good? My name is Bob, and all I can say is our favorite alien is back.
Hello, read my lips.
Not that one. I'm talking about the xenomorph. So tonight I went to check out Alien Romulus. This is the new film in the Alien franchise, and it takes place between the first two films. Now, I did try to keep my expectations pretty low because I did like the trailer, but all the films since the first two have been very hit or miss. Some have been okay, and others, not quite so much. But I decided to go ahead and give it a shot. Now, as far as this review goes, I want to let you know I'm not going to get into any spoilers, so if you haven't seen the movie, you don't need to worry about anything getting spoiled for you. Now, if you have seen the movie, I'd like to know what you thought about it. Why don't you go ahead and share your comments in the comment section below? Let me know what you thought about the film. Did you like it? Are you a fan of the Alien franchise? Do you hope that this sparks more sequels? I'd really like to know what you thought. Don't forget to hit that like button, share the video, subscribe to the channel, and let's get to it. Set between the first two films in the franchise, Alien Romulus follows a group of space colonizers as they scavenge the deep ends of a derelict space station. It is here that they come face to face with the most terrifying life form ever known in the universe. Now, since those first two Alien films, there have been several sequels and prequels that have been trying to recapture the magic of the first two, and they just haven't been able to do so. The question is, would this new one be able to match up to those films? Let me start off by talking about the things that I did like. First off, this is the closest in tone that there's been to the original Alien since the second film. And I think that that's a good thing because it brought it back to basics. It made the film feel like it was a science fiction horror film instead of an action film. And I like the fact that they went back to that tone. And I think that the director, Fede Alvarez, did a good job in establishing that throughout the film. Next, I think that the film looks pretty good. I like the way they were able to capture certain visuals, and the special effects look pretty good. There's some wonky CGI in certain parts, but majority of it I think looks pretty good. And the director said that he wanted to use a lot of practical effects, and you can tell that they're actually shot on physical sets as opposed to just having a green screen through a lot of it. And because of that, the world feels very much lived in and it feels real. And I appreciated the fact that they used a lot of practical effects. Overall, I think it looks pretty good. Also, I found the story to be pretty good for the most part. It's pretty straightforward in that you have this group of colonizers that are on this space station and they encounter the alien. And I found it to be pretty entertaining for most of the film. Also, I think that the story did some decent world building. You actually get to know a little bit more about the company and what life is like for people who work for it. We've always seen the space truckers in space, and now you actually get to see what life is like for people living on a planet who work for the company, as well as you get to know a little bit more about the motivations behind this company and why they want the alien. And so I really like the fact that this film did some world building and helped fill in some of the gaps. So for the most part, I thought the story was pretty good. Also, the way that the story unfolds, this is very much a love letter to the Alien franchise. You can tell that the director has a love for this source material as he brought in ideas from previous films, including the sequels and prequels. And I like the fact that he is a fan of this franchise. And you can tell he's trying to make something that the fans are going to enjoy. So I found myself appreciating that. The acting isn't really anything to write home about, but there were a couple of performances that I want to mention. Kaylee Spaney plays Rain Carradine. She's the lead actress in the film, and I think she did a good job for most of it. I found myself invested in her character, and I really liked her interactions with her brother. Now, speaking of her brother, he's played by David Johnson, and the character's name is Andy. And I actually think that he is the highlight of the film. I liked what they did with his character, and there were several things that were very interesting with him. Now, I don't really want to get into it because we're getting into spoiler territory with that, but he did a fine job in this role. Now, despite me finding the story entertaining, I got to be honest, I didn't particularly like the ending. I don't think that they stuck the landing very well, and there are a couple of reasons for that. First off, I think that the film should have ended a little bit sooner than what it did, and instead, it carried on a little bit too long. And it's not because it dragged, it's because of the second reason. And that is that they brought a couple of ideas from previous films into this, and those are ideas that I didn't like in those films, and they tried to flesh it out a little bit better in this one. And even though I think it was a little bit fleshed out because I didn't like them before, I still don't like them now. I think it would have been better had they ended the film a little bit sooner. And overall, I do think that this ending is going to be divisive amongst the audience. For my thoughts overall on the film, was it good? I thought this was pretty entertaining for the most part. I did like the majority of the movie. I also thought that it was a solid entry in the franchise. It's one of the better entries since the second film, but like I said, I didn't particularly like the ending, and I do think that's going to be divisive amongst the audience. But for the whole, I did like what I saw. Now, if you're still watching this long, I'd like to thank you for joining me. Don't forget to hit that like button, share the video, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you next time.